15 members of Zimbabwe's opposition Citizens Coalition for Change have approached the courts claiming they were tricked into losing their parliamentary seats. It's after a letter purportedly from the party's Secretary-General claimed that the group were no longer members, leading the Speaker to declare their seats vacant. Well, let's discuss this more with the CCC spokesperson, Promise Mkwananzi, who's joining us live from Harare. Ms. Mkwananzi, I appreciate your time today. Could you provide an overview of the situation surrounding the recall of 15 CCC legislators from Parliament and the subsequent actions taken by CCC in response?
Well, a random person was chosen by ZANU-PF, the ruling party in Zimbabwe, and used to write a letter purporting to recall our members of parliament were duly elected in an unfree and unfair election on the 23rd of August 2023. Surprisingly, the Parliament of Zimbabwe complied with this random person and recalled our members of parliament unlawfully and irregularly. We have since met as the Citizens Coalition for Change, the Citizens National Assembly, which is the highest decision-making body of the party, and deliberated on the matter and came up with the following resolutions. Number one, we wrote to the Speaker of Parliament informing him that he had erred in his decision and that he needed to reverse that decision. Secondly, we have said that we are going to stay away from Parliament until the members who have been recalled unlawfully are reinstated and duly respected as members of Parliament. And thirdly, we are also going to approach the courts on this matter for the record, just to show that these recalls are unlawful, they must be set aside, and our members of Parliament must be allowed to serve the people that elected them.
Ms. Mkwananzi, you've referred to this individual as a random person, but he is Chabangu. What is his relationship with the CCC?
There is absolutely no relationship with the CCC with Mr. Chabangu. We have asked our technical staff to search for his name on our register of members. There is nothing that appears on Chabangu.
So what's also baffling is that the CCC president...
Come again?
I said what's baffling is that the CCC president, Nelson Chamisa, subsequently wrote to the Speaker of Parliament, right, in his capacity of the president of the CCC, advising that Chabangu was a nonentity in as far as the CCC is concerned, but this letter was ignored. Is that correct?
President Nelson Chamisa wrote to the Speaker of Parliament notifying him that the President, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, was the one that was supposed to have any correspondence with Parliament. That was on the 11th of September 2023. He then wrote a follow-up letter after Chabangu wrote his letter stating that the Parliament must disregard that letter. Both letters were not acknowledged or responded to by Parliament, which really is unfortunate. We expect Parliament to respond to any correspondence, especially official correspondence from the leader of the largest political party in Zimbabwe.
Now, obviously, you've engaged your legal team, I'd imagine, to deal with this issue. What do you have in your favor? Because it seems almost improbable that any random individual who has no links with the CCC will be able to write to the Speaker of Parliament. I mean, it's almost like suggesting that I could just write a letter today and recall any number of members of Parliament.
Well, the random individual is obviously working with the ruling party, ZANU-PF, and ZANU-PF is known for its machinations and shenanigans. But I think what is important is to note that this is an unprecedented move in Zimbabwe. Barely a month after these people were sworn in as members of Parliament, they've been recalled by an individual who's barely known to anybody in the CCC or in any party for that matter, or anywhere in Zimbabwe. And that it just goes to show the disdain of the ruling ZANU-PF party to the wishes of the people of Zimbabwe. They've subverted the will of the people of Zimbabwe for too long. Since 1980, they submitted the will of the people on the presidential election in this year. And now, as if that is not enough, they have further gone on to recall unlawfully members of parliament that were duly elected by the people of Zimbabwe. And I find that to be very, very unfortunate.
Now, there's been much talk about the lack of structures or clear structures within the CCC. Do you think that this is something that might have paved the way for this individual to make these assertions that he is a member, or in fact, I think he's called himself the Secretary General of the CCC, and put in a letter that's resulted in these 15 individuals being recalled?
Absolutely not. You remember that we were constituted as the Movement for Democratic Change Alliance before we became the CCC. We had full-fledged traditional structures as they were then, but still we faced the same problem. ZANU-PF was able to penetrate and exploit some of our members and got our members of parliament unlawfully recalled. And now we don't, whether we have structures or not, that is not the debate. We do have structures, but that's the debate for another day. The only constant that you see is the hand of ZANU-PF, which is intent on recalling our members of parliament, which is intent on subverting the will of the people of Zimbabwe, which is intent on getting a 2/3 majority through the back door and do what they want with the constitution. In particular, they want to amend the constitution to remove the term limit so that Mr. Mnangagwa can run for another term and another term and another term. So that is the problem that we have. ZANU-PF is the problem. CCC is not the problem. So yeah, basically, I think that is the position.
Mr. Mkwananzi, what evidence do you have to suggest that it is ZANU-PF indeed that is behind these submissions?
Well, there's sufficient evidence that we've gathered that this guy, just like the guys in the past, have been conniving with ZANU-PF to try and, undermine the will of the people of Zimbabwe, the choice of the people of Zimbabwe. We've got a lot of evidence. We've seen audios, we've seen videos, we've seen WhatsApp exchanges of this particular person conniving with certain individuals within ZANU-PF. And also, if you look at the recalled members of parliament, you do see a certain pattern. For example, we've got a constituency in Mavuku where they want to bring back a guy called Scott, who is very close to Mr. Mnangagwa. You've got a Cultural constituency where they want to bring back the Minister of Finance, Professor Mthuli Ncube, who lost dismally to Honorable Pashos Banda. You also have got Modi, a key ZANU-PF figure in Blair South, whom they want to bring back. So we do see a pattern and we do see a method in the selection of those that have been recalled.
Mr. Mkwananzi, now we understand that the CCC has decided to disengage. Walk us through what disengagement means. What are your people, these parliamentarians and other officers, going to do during government business in response to the recall of the legislators? So your deployees in Parliament, the Senate and local authorities, what are they doing during this period of disengagement?
Well, during the disengagement, our deployees are going to be going back to the people that elected them to give feedback on what has transpired in their various deployments, be it in council, in Senate, or in Parliament. And they're going to be giving feedback. They're going to be explaining to the people what has happened. As you know, that we've also put a caveat that should this disengagement not yield the necessary results, we are going to be taking this a step further, which is to say that we are going to say it is now up to the citizens of Zimbabwe to exercise every peaceful means available to them to register their unhappiness, their disquiet, and their discontentment against the wanton abuse of the rules of parliament and the violation of the Constitution of Zimbabwe.
Promise Mkwananzi, CCC spokesperson, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us.